Any other changes?
There was a couple, I think there was a spelling errors, I think she said.
Yeah, that's all.
Yeah, there was a couple.
Okay, thank you.
Call the meeting to order, City Council, November 9th, 2021, at 7 p.m. City Council chambers located at 2434 Vermont Street, Long Island, Illinois. Start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Clerk, please do the roll.
Alderman Johnson. Alderman Fairwell.
Here.
Alderman Rita.
Here.
Alderman Montoya.
Here.
Alderman McGee.
Present.
Alderman Carr.
Here.
Alderman Roll.
Here.
6 here.
All right. Quorum we have. Number 4, under presentation of journal proceedings, we have a motion to approve the City Council minutes from October 26, 2021. I believe the deputy clerk provided through email updated version, correct?
Yeah, I just printed, no, I just need.
Okay. All right, is there a motion? Motion by Alderman Fairwell, seconded by Alderman Roll. Any questions? Not, clerk, please do the roll.
Alderman Fairwell.
Aye.
Alderman Rita.
Aye.
Alderman Montoya.
Aye.
Alderman McGee.
Aye.
Alderman Carr.
Aye.
Alderman Roll.
Aye.
6 ayes, Your Honor.
Motion carries. Move on to public comment. Is there any public comment?
Good evening, City Council and Mayor Bellato. Mayor Bellato, this would be one of those evenings you'd be able to say something like, "Hey, Midlothian Valerie, I see you showed up at a City Council meeting."
I didn't want to call you out, Bill.
Yeah, well, see, and this is, I appreciate that because it's only a brand, it's not who I am. And in fact, part of the reason why I'm here tonight is because of Carol DePastry. Not so much that I feel strongly that I could necessarily properly expel her virtues. I can't. It's impossible. I was lucky enough to work with her on some community-related issues like the South Suburban Joint Action Water Agency. I've published quite a few articles, in fact, as it relates to Midlothian. We also have the Corcus circumstance as well, that I, yes, am the publisher of quite a bit of information that you got from nowhere else, except from FOIA requests that I made. And I wanted to come face to face so much long ago. And the pandemic and life prevented me to stand before you and not only take accountability for the words that I did publish about this amazing city, but to instead tonight try and move it forward rather than me counting on Carol, being here, keeping an eye on you guys and the issues that she so put her heart in. So I was curious if you wouldn't mind my inquiry, and I certainly would answer any questions, although I couldn't fathom what might come up. But do we even know where that investigation is at that moment as it relates to the 2 Tahoes? Or are we still in limbo? What's
I can't disclose because it's all executive.
there? So that's acceptable enough at this time. Do we know if the Tahoes are still being stored? Is that allowed to be? Okay. I also am fully capable of moving past that, and thank you for allowing me to bring up that issue. There is a second issue, however, and it's the amazing opportunity that Blue Island was given this summer with all the recording that was going on around the city. You know, the hospital was used, our streets were used. I mean, that was some fun, exciting stuff where we had income coming in, you know, from unexpected sources. I mean, you had all the people that were employed on the sets, right? You know, and all those types of things. What disturbed me, and I was appreciative of Alderman Roll taking a moment, you know, for us to talk about it, was when I looked at the Illinois Film Office and their policy, because I was thinking to myself, this is so cool. Blue Island's gonna get a little money. Forgive me for dancing. I am a musician, so when I'm nervous, I'm gonna sit here and do me. But with that said, I was very surprised and disappointed when the Illinois Film Office does not set any standards for any of the municipalities, unlike other states. And in fact, they leave it uniquely to all the municipalities here in the state. And I believe our state ranks in the top 5 of the most municipal units in the country, kind of thing. So again, I don't need response. I guess I'm putting forth a request that for next year, please consider. We deserve some residuals from that. And I'm speaking to you as the artist I am. I've written original music that has been released. Doesn't mean it was sold. And that's okay. For me, it's the process. But in turn, think about all these shows right now that are on television that you're not even seeing $100, not even $1,000. That could go to pay for all sorts of, yes, those small things, but they still matter. You know, the sidewalks getting repaired, like on Western, that still hasn't been repaired, and I can't wait till it snows, and you know, we're gonna be walking in the middle of the street to get around it, you know? So please consider how you guys, as a city council, and you, Mayor Bellato, will keep this inviting. It is a very exciting place, great history, great people. But we also deserve to see something back. It's our police officers that have been doing the security, you know, and if something goes wrong, it is the taxpayers that end up carrying the burden. So I do believe that I have sufficiently held up what I promised myself I would do when I heard news of losing such a dear friend of mine who I had the honor of working with and being able to trust, and instead take that opportunity to be me and stand in front of you and still speak my own opinions. So I don't know. I don't think you do give and take, but you know, are we good?
Good.
All right, thank you very much, City Council. Again, I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Hello to the committee.
Evening.
I am a Blue Island resident for over 22 years. I try to keep my property clean and updated, and my alley is horrific. When I called before on the Zoom and they were holding people and taking their information, the response I got that it was $300,000 something to fix the alley. In 22 years, I have not been able to get my alley clean. It's ridiculous. My cars have been torn up as a result of trying to get in my own back. Because on the front, there are so many cars that are parked there. I who live there and pay taxes cannot park. Now, I would like to be very conscious of the fact that you have a lot of things to do. In 22 years, only once has asphalt or some kind of rocks been put down in the back, where in a week or two's time, we were back to homes again. It's absolutely ridiculous. And unfeeling and unconcerned of the people that live in this community. I don't know what's important to you, but when I have to pay the kind of taxes I pay, I don't care about Moraine Valley. I don't have any children there. My children are all graduated from Ivy. I want somebody to be concerned about what's going on in my area of residence. I'm a good resident. I'm a faithful resident. And I believe that when everybody was running for election, they promised me something. And I don't have the one thing I asked for. The one thing I wanted to do. And it's unfair. It is very unfair. I don't know where all of you live, but I live in a place where I can't park my car 2 times. One time in Axel and the other time tires. Nobody's refunding me. Nobody knows. But the guy who responded on the phone, his comment was how much it cost. Nobody cares how much I'm paying taxes. They just want to pay me. And if I don't pay them, then I'm penalized. I want somebody that is not waiting to be elected to do something for me and my community before it's time for election again. I have other comments, but I think one thing for me today is enough. But the problem is also that there's so many houses with so many people with cars, there's no place to park in the front. There's no place to park in the front. There's no limitation on how many cars you can have in your household. It's wrong. It's wrong to be able, not to be able to get some kind of service out of what's going on here. You haven't seen me here before, but maybe one time. I'm not a person that comes and aggravates people about stuff. But I work hard to take care of my house. And I want somebody to consider that at some time other than election time.
Please see one of the administrators if you want to get information so we can contact you, ma'am. Tom and Mark, if you could raise your hands. Thank you. Any other public comment?
Good evening. In this cradle of democracy, I am Ted Nelson, 2303 Prairie. I was walking, as I like to do in Blue Island, down near the Vermont Street Station. And I saw a pedestrian stumble and fall. And myself and another person went to help him up in a torn suit legging. And he was okay. But I thought that there was supposed to be some sort of redevelopment, or at least a sidewalk put up there. You have to be a pretty good mountain goat to walk that way if you're walking north or west. And I think that since the railroads came through in the 1850s, maybe we can put a sidewalk there. It really would help people an awful lot. And another thing I want to mention is I heard that the station is going to be remodeled. And that's great. Is there then a plan to have some landscaping done at that same time? And if not, if Metro doesn't do it, are we going to do it? And you need some persons from the community to help out. We'll certainly be glad to help out. When you come into Blue Island, another area from Chicago, there are some wonderful businesses, great enterprises, and there's a wasteland, no trees. And I'm wondering if perhaps the city could put 2 trees every year in the sidewalk area, just 2. In the 10 years, you have 20 trees. I know it costs some money to put them in, especially when you have to cut the concrete out and put a metal piece below it so that water can get in. But I think that's very important to the community. Another thing also is that when you come into Blue Island from the south, from the north going south, you see the bridge. I think it'd be a great idea to have a light on the bridge. Not just lights below, but have some lights on there indicating this is a destination. It might be a place people can see that they will lead into old Western Avenue. And it wouldn't cost too much money to put some lights up there that you can see. It'd be beautiful. You never know, there might be a casino someday on the other side of it. I'm not quite sure. So those are just a few things I wanted to mention, and thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Now we'll move on to motion for approval of payroll for October 29th, 2021 in the amount of $371,274.34. Is there a motion? Motion by Alvin Rita. Is there a second? Alvin Montoya on the question. Alvin Fairwell.
I wanted to bring to the city's council's attention something that I noticed. I corresponded with Mark Pataska about it, which is that if you look at the payroll that we're going to pay tonight, and we multiply it by 26, okay, it comes to about $9.7 million on an annual basis. That would be 26 payrolls, tonight's payrolls, about 9.7 million. That would lead one to think that perhaps that's what our annual payroll currently kind of stands at, which would be about $1,250,000 increase in the payroll since May, when this administration took over. I asked for an analysis of who has been hired at what cost, who has been fired at what cost, what positions have had increases at what cost, so that we could present it to the city council, so we can understand why our payroll appears to be skyrocketing. Mark did respond to me, which I always appreciate. However, I do take exception to his response because, again, if you look at tonight's payroll and you multiply it by 26 in 1 year, that comes to $9.5 million. And unless there's something extraordinary in this payroll, which I am not aware of, that is the course we're headed at. And that's a huge increase. There may very well be some good reasons, but right now I don't understand. And with that kind of an increase, I want to understand. I do need to urge that we get a presentation about, the hiring and the firing that's going on. And I understand there were need for changes, and there were changes, and that may all very well be good, but we need to understand what we're getting and what we're paying for it and what the value is. I will vote to approve tonight's payroll, but I won't vote to approve the next payroll if I don't know what's going on, because this is clearly a situation that raises concerns.
Thank you, Alderman. And I did read through your things, and I'm glad you are spending the time to look at this. My issue is more of going forward, looking at our payroll as we go down the path of appropriations. I know we filled out positions that were vacant before. I know there was positions we added, like Public Works. We increased the police payroll tremendously, actually, to maintain we have part-time police staff on the streets. But you did bring attention to the fact about analyzing the payroll per payroll fact. So thank you for that. And I think that Mark's response was well and good. I do understand just by looking at it that each payroll is different. There's some in here that's been paid out higher than others because of back pay and other issues. I know we increased our fire and police staff full time also in this last 6 months since we've taken office. Some of the things that we actually voted on that were outside of the appropriation limits. I'm not going to get into the weeds here. I'm glad you're looking at this stuff because we need to all know better and more information for the council.
I just asked it for information.
No, I understand that. We need to fill positions that were vacant. We all know the city, at the very least, is more efficiently run now than the last few years because we filled some positions. Now, that doesn't mean that things can't be more streamlined and more efficient in the future either. So that's a further conversation. So thank you.
All right. But I just note my request, please.
Any other questions? Not, clerk, please do the roll.
Alderman Fairwell,
Aye.
Alderman Rita,
Aye.
Alderman Montoya,
Aye.
Alderman McGee,
Aye.
Alderman Carr,
Aye.
Alderman Roll,
Aye.
6 ayes, Your Honor.
Motion carries. Next, we have a motion for approval of accounts payable in the amount of $383,608.42. Is there a motion? Motion by Alderman Rita. Is there a second? Alderman Carr. Any questions? Not, clerk, please do the roll.
Alderman Fairwell,
Aye.
Alderman Rita,
Aye.
Alderman Montoya,
Aye.
Alderman McGee,
Aye.
Alderman Carr,
Aye.
Alderman Roll,
Aye.
6 ayes, Your Honor.
Motion carries. Mr. Bennett Scott. Over here. So Mr. Bennett Scott is going to be sworn into oath for our Blue Island Fire Department, which is a long, one of the oldest histories in Illinois, fighting fires. A little bit of history of that is that we were one of the first brigades that gave substantial help to the Great Chicago Fire, with them listing us as the only fire agency of thanks that helped stop the fire in Chicago. This whole piece of history is the history feature I am. It's sitting at the Historical Society, this huge big plaque in the city of Chicago. So we'll do the oath of office. I'm going to ask you to repeat after me. Okay, so you raise your right hand. I, Bennett Scott,
I, Bennett Scott,
having been appointed to the office of firefighter
having been appointed to the office of firefighter
in the city of Blue Island,
in the Blue Island,
the county of Cook,
county of Cook,
in the state of Illinois,
state of Illinois,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the state of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the state of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office in the fire department,
office in the fire department,
the city of Blue Island,
in the city of Blue Island,
in the county of Cook,
county of Cook,
state of Illinois,
state of
to
Illinois,
the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
And do we have someone to pin that?
Good luck.
Don't poke. Thank you again. Welcome. Next, we have resolution of the city of Blue Island, Cook County, Illinois, to authorize and approve an intergovernmental agreement with the Illinois Department of Public Health. Is there a motion? Motion made by Alderman Roll, second by Alderman McGee on the question. Alderman Fairwell.
It's an agreement to receive funds collected for death certificate fees from the IDPA, so it just allows us to get the money.
We do this, I think, every.
Yeah.
All right, any other questions? If not, we'll do the roll.
Alderman Fairwell,
Aye.
Alderman Rita,
Aye.
Alderman Montoya.
Aye.
Alderman McGee,
Aye.
Alderman Carr,
Aye.
Alderman Roll.
Aye.
6 ayes, Your Honor.
All right, motion carries. Thank you. Number 5, we have an ordinance of the city of Blue Island, Cook County, Illinois, amending Title 11, Chapter 111 of the alcoholic liquor of the Code of Illinois, Blue Island, Illinois, related to the license classifications and fees. I know this was debated and gone back and forth. I believe Mark has made many changes. I figure there's going to be a question. So if you want to start making your way up to the podium, but I'll ask for a motion. Motion by Alderman Roll, second by Alderman Fairwell on the question. Any questions? Not, if we answer them, this is good, because then we have a heads up on notifying the establishments a little bit ahead of schedule. So if not, Mark, we're good, I think. Thank you. Clerk, please do the roll.
Alderman Fairwell,
Aye.
Alderman Rita,
Aye.
Alderman Montoya.
Aye.
Alderman McGee,
Aye.
Alderman Carr,
Aye.
Alderman Roll.
Aye.
6 ayes, Your Honor.
Motion carries. Thank you. Under mayor's announcements, I wanted to first do a moment of silence. We lost Carol, and I'm going to pronounce her name the Italian way. We joke around about this all the time. It's DePace. Carol DePace or DePace Green. She passed away recently after a long battle. So I ask for a moment of silence. Carol was a member of our library board, but more than that, she was an advocate for the city of Blue Island on multiple fronts. After talking with her son Angela the other day, he even acknowledged that we would fight each other out and hug each other afterwards. She was always good at that, at least to listen and hear responses and go back and forth in any debate. And she served on the library board. So at the very least, we sent our bunting, as far as my recent memory ever, we put bunting in front of the library. I believe they're installing it tomorrow. We're lending our bunting from City Hall at the library. I don't ever remember that happening before, but I think it's the least we can do. Her wake service is going to be this Saturday on November 13th, 2021 at St. Walter's Church. I know her son, and she was very involved there. My kids go there now. So our wake's going to be 11 a.m. and at 12 o'clock immediately following, there'll be a mass. It's probably going to be one of the last ones there because they consolidated with St. Benedict. So again, Saturday at St. Walter's, this 13th, November 13th at 11 a.m. At 12 o'clock, there'll be a mass in her honor. So it's a shock to me. She was a fighter to the end. And I lost my mother to the same similar disease at the age of 56. So it touched me very personal on that. And we held that in common also. So again, my sympathies with Angela and anybody that considered her a friend, myself included. And just make sure you talk to your loved ones, your kids, your parents, if they're still around, and tell them how much you appreciate them, because you don't know when they're going to be taken. So thank you. Since our last meeting, Dixmoor's water pressure has been restored. Nearly a week, they requested us to slow the service to the town. They got their pressure back. Public Works remained the line there, even though we're not flowing there anymore, just in case something else comes up. And they're greatly appreciated to us. It only cost us pennies on the dollar to make sure they were able to get their pressure back up, which seems to happen by many accounts of our lending at hand. And I believe, again, it's been quoted, and I think at the very least, what we got out of this, we drew a lot of attention, because every single time there was an article in news release, they mentioned the aging infrastructure of the south suburbs. Blue Island was right there saying we stepped up and helped the neighbor. So hopefully, if anything comes out of this, at the very least, on top of helping someone, giving them a human right of water, it draws attention that we also have an aging infrastructure older than the village of Dixmoor. We were lucky over the years having a staff to maintain our aging lines. I went over many facts with our lead lines, our combined water sewer. We don't require them. We don't have the minimum of 6-inch mains. Most of our mains are 4-inch, but yet we're able to help a neighbor. And I think at the very least, we got some attention out of that. If there's any infrastructure money coming down the road, we put our name out there first, obviously after Dixmoor. But so there's that. But we were only there pumping for about a week. We don't have the exact figures yet, but it's very minimal. Once I have the exact figures of what's owed, I was told multiple different agencies were going to repay us because everybody was grateful that we asked and stepped up. But it's very minimal from what I was told from our superintendent of public works. Shockingly minimal. So there's Dixmoor. I had another meeting with the ownership group of the Metro South Hospital today. At this point, I invited them to November 23rd City Council meeting. Not to bystep any process. They still have to go through any process. I just want you guys involved at this level to make recommendations, questions regarding what the future is, what their ideas are. So they'll be at the November 23rd meeting. They're supposed to provide me with any information they'd like to present before the meeting. Their ideas include an urgent care, which we demanded at our office. It has to be part of any plan they bring forward. And partnership with the state university, which I'll let them mention if they want. It's their plan for student housing only with the same company that manages most of the student housing in the state of Illinois. So I invited them to November 23rd meeting, nothing for approval, but only to get your guys' opinion and get on board at this stage before we go any further. So it's not only my vision, it's also the council, because this is a big project in town if it does go through. And I want to make sure we're all on the same page and we have our voices heard, because each one of us, even though it's in one ward, it's the biggest building in town. So they'll be at the November 23rd meeting. By statute, the city must pass our 2022 tax levy by the second week of December. What's actually the last Tuesday in December, but we only have one meeting in December. We're still waiting on the final audit numbers, hopefully within a week, before we construct the levy. As such, we'll be likely putting that on the agenda for the 23rd of November. We're not going to extend over the tax cap. As many of you know, if you don't know, Cook County falls under the property tax cap. We can't ask for more money than what we're going to get from the county anyway. So we're not asking for any public hearings, any of that stuff around asking for more money than we normally receive. So it'll be on the 23rd agenda, hopefully, if our numbers come back from the audit and our accountants by then. And as you know, a tax levy is one of those things you have to pass. Otherwise, you don't have any revenue the following year. It has to be passed before and submitted before the end of December. So that'll be at the next meeting. To address a couple of questions or about public comments, streetscaping, Hitchcock Design, which we're going to start with Old Western first, which includes installing trees every so many feet. Their final draft should be within the next few weeks, according to Joel from Hitchcock Design. As soon as I get that, we can send it to the council also, to the next committee of the whole, hopefully at December's committee of the whole meeting, we can get moving on that project. And the train station, we were notified, and I'm sure you've seen the information out there, that finally going to remodel the Vermont Street Station with exterior improvements, with walkways and greenery. But they've been promising that for a long time that I've been on the council, my entirety on the council, if not before. And believe it when I see it, kind of stands on that. But it sounds like they awarded bids and the money is already there through a grant. So that's just to be done, Vermont Street Station rehabilitation. Finally. So that's all I have under mayor's comments. Move to city clerk.
Day of the Dead was a huge success. I want to thank the committee and the community for the support. Next year, plan on being bigger and better. The hours of City Hall have officially changed. This Saturday was our first Saturday that was open. It was slow, but people did come in, so that was a great thing. The lead parade has been, committee has been working and meeting. The parade is on December 4th. At the parade, prior to the parade, the library will be having some movies, but around 2 o'clock, there'll be the Kris Kringle Mart, the petting zoo, pony rides, train ride, and a bear ride. This is all around 2 o'clock. All the rides and that are free for all the kids. The mayor will light up York and Western Park before the parade starts. So it'll be between 4:30 and 5 o'clock. The parade begins at 5:30. Larry Guerrero will be the grand marshal this year. The Santa House and the horse and wagon rides will be following the parade. Also, that will be free. You can still enter a car or truck. You could also be a vendor in the Kringle Mart. Our forms are on our blueisland.org website. We will also be doing Rock Around the Clock this year. We're working and decorating a new ball, and the details will be out soon. I will be starting a Black History Committee. Anyone is interested, please call me or stop by my office and sign up. California Gardens, I'm gonna say, make sure I say this right. California Gardens of Love Baptist Church will be doing their annual Thanksgiving hot free meals, November 20th, 12 to 3. It's all free. If you have any questions, you may call Valerie Collins. That's all I have.
Thank you. Also, just to add, the Christmas lights are up. They're still making some repairs, but I think they look great. I'm getting a lot of positive feedback on them. Hopefully we can build on this for next year. I know the Light Parade Committee, they met last night, they're ecstatic about having lights like we had back in the day. The parade, as soon as you can, if you know any business in town, we've reached out to most businesses. The committee has reached out to many businesses for their efforts and working on this as a volunteer effort. But if you know anybody that maybe all it takes is an ask, me and the treasurer were talking about today, and we asked a few businesses, they're like, great, we'll put our truck or we'll light up a semi and put it in the parade. So if you know anybody, please reach out.
Anybody that has been at the parade, we have dancing horses. We might have another set of horses. Also, someone's volunteering. We have little people. We have the Jeep Club, several different high school bands from the area. So we took off 1 year, so we're hoping that everything will be back to normal this year, close to normal.
And we're starting on Prairie Street and going down to Grove, right? Prairie or Grove
I'm not
tentatively
sure.
right now.
I'm in charge of the Kringle Market. So I'm
All
not
right.
sure. Right.
I'll stop at that, but the committee gets a lot of respect. They're putting this together as they always do. And a lot of support from the city mayor's office and our staff, our city clerk here, and anybody else that participates. We're trying to do an all-out effort, and it's very little cost for a lot of goodwill and publicity for our town. So thank you, and please don't forget December 4th is the parade, so make sure you come and attend that. City treasurer.
Two things, Mayor, including in today's packet, you guys received the monthly treasury report ending October 31st, 2021, and just we touched on this a little bit before a couple minutes ago, but we do plan to have our audit, our 2020 audit by next city council. As soon as I have that in digital format, I will make sure that all the council receives it to start overlooking it, and then we can plan for our CPAs to come out and do a presentation. As soon as I hear a word, I will let you all know.
I have a question. These are the aldermen. Did any of you aldermen receive a ordinance book binder? I don't know. I mean, did you get? I didn't get one either. Linda Podorick asked me, and I know Nancy Rita has one.
I think they
Carl, you have one?
probably stopped in 13.
Is that something-
I never got one.
You never.
I never got
Is
one. I
that
got
something
one.
you guys would like? It's visual, so I mean, it's all up online. The only thing that are not online right now are the ones we just signed. But is it something I can work on to make sure? Nancy has one, but it's not updated. So we can
I
update
would
it.
rely on the online version myself.
You don't need one then?
It's gonna be most up to date, so.
Yeah.
I wouldn't think.
Okay.
Myself, but others might.
I think once the codification is done, they're going to provide us copies.
Correct. Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right, just making sure.
All right, it's not on here, but it's a city treasurer report. We usually have to make a motion to accept. Is there a motion? Motion by Alderman Fairwell, second by Alderman Roll. Any questions? Now, clerk, please do the roll on the treasurer report.
Alderman Fairwell.
Aye.
Alderman Rita.
Aye.
Alderman Montoya.
Aye.
Alderman McGee.
Aye.
Alderman Carr.
Aye.
Alderman Roll.
Aye.
6 ayes.
City administrator, any comments, concerns?
Tom Rowan, City Administrator. I asked the mayor just to put moving forward a city administrator line item in the agenda, just because there are some stuff that the administration would like to, the staff would like to inform, and we didn't want to be shoehorning it into the meeting. So we won't take advantage of it every time. Just for the purpose of today, though, one, just to clarify, yes, part of our codification agreement with American Legal Services, which should be ready in a couple months, does include a copy of a codified all city ordinances for every alderman, every city official. If you have one right now, it wouldn't be very useful to you because you still would have to cross-reference it with everything, all the ordinances that are online. So just a couple quick updates. Today was the first deadline in the new COVID vaccine and testing policy in the city. So Human Resources has started to receive number of proofs of vaccination from employees, as well as, and then the employees we don't receive proofs of vaccination from. I believe we gave an extra week for the testing requirements of it, just to give the time for the employees to get tested. All employees, we've made contact with Cook County. All employees have free tests available to them during normal hours at the Cook County Public Health Building. They have the supply. We've contacted them. We warned them that they may have people coming in weekly. They said that's fine. So there should not be any cost prohibitive measure to any unvaccinated employee getting tested on a weekly basis. And we're just going to start keeping the log and checking in every week to make sure that any employee who hasn't turned in a vaccination card to Human Resources is showing proof of a negative test every week. We have had a couple of requests for religious exemption. Those are being handled by the city attorney. And then just to piggyback a little bit off the treasurer's report, the completed audit is something we are waiting on a number of very important items that I know members of this council are concerned about. The first would be the 2022 appropriation, which we can't really start till we have clean numbers. I've been meeting weekly with Alderman Roll. We are prepared to kind of start the first stages of that process. But for those of you who've been involved in the budget process before, whether the finance committee capacity or otherwise, it's involved. It involves a lot of debate. We have to really dig into each department. So we're going to start that process. We have to pass it by March. We're hoping to beat that deadline considerably because that appropriation document is important for the future of how we're going to structure the city. Secondly, I know there's a great interest and from the staff as well on getting some movement on a comprehensive liability insurance policy, which obviously we need financials to do. But in anticipation of that, I have been working with both Alliance and CCMSI to get comparables from municipalities of roughly the same size on the different types of coverages they have. It should give us at least some basic guidelines on what we need to anticipate moving into 2022. Obviously, those two conversations, budget and insurance, are going to dovetail, are going to merge together eventually as we need to create what is going to be a significantly decent sized new line item about a comprehensive liability payment. So that's what we're working on, and that's what's forthcoming. If anyone has any questions of me, I'm happy to answer.
Just a note for anybody who's new here, I'm assuming that we're figuring on some special meetings around the budget.
I think my experience in government would suggest you need at least one to devote to the entirety of, because to try to fit it into this agenda, we'd be here till midnight. I don't think anyone has an appetite for that. So.
Yeah, we've been there. We'll do it.
Yeah, but I would anticipate that it's a big enough item that it probably requires its own meeting. Right. Thank you.
Thank you. Aldermanic announcements, reports, or comments. Alderman McGee.
Yeah, I did want to say, unfortunately, I'm really sorry I'm not going to be in town for Carol's service. And I did just want to take a moment here to pay my own honor to her. I didn't know Carol until I became an alderman. And then I tried to figure out what the heck this person was all about. And she was a unique person, a very, very strong person, a very committed person to the well-being of the town of Blue Island. I know everyone here didn't always agree with Carol. She didn't expect everybody to. That never stopped her. And I found her to be an extraordinarily useful resource. Carol had a wealth of information and resources. She wasn't always right, but sometimes she was really, really right. And I really appreciated her counsel. And she held my feet to the fire on some things, which helped me do a better job. But more than that, I just developed a great affection for her over time, and really regret her passing. It made me very sad to learn of it. I will miss her tremendously, and in fact, she leaves a void that I don't know how will be filled. So I just want to appreciate her. Thank you.
Well, to piggyback on I feel the same way. Carol was a very stern individual. Her compass always pointed north. She always had the best interest of Blue Island. And, I was, we don't always agree on everything, but again, she was a very big part of Blue Island, and you could see that her heart was here. Her heart was here. So, and it's going to be missed. It will definitely be missed here. On another note, with regards to safety, for the two projects that are currently underway on Collins and 119th, I've received a couple phone calls with regards to the elderly possibly falling into the construction. So if it's possible, if we can somehow tape off the area between the horses or something like that, something to, because if an elderly person slips, they're not getting out of there. So.
Alderman, I will email the engineer and CCU and Alderman Farnwell. Any other Alderman comments, concerns? Now, we do have a short executive session, and we get a motion to go in. Motion by Alderman Rita, second by Alderman Farnwell. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
regular session. Motion by Alderman Rivas, second by Alderman Carr. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Talk about an executive session, we need a motion to approve our real estate appeal. We need a motion to approve the real estate appeal that settled through the Cook County Board. Is there a motion? Motion by Alderman Fairwell, second by Alderman Roll. Any questions? Clerk, please do the roll.
Alderman Johnson, Alderman Fairwell,
Aye.
Alderman Rita,
Aye.
Alderman Montoya. Alderman McGee,
Aye.
Alderman Carr.
Aye.
Alderman Roll.
Aye.
6 ayes, Your Honor.
Carries. Motion by Alderman Rivas, second by Alderman Roll. Any questions? If not, all in favor?
Aye.